Smackdown Live. Let's make this clear. I don't even think we need to go very long, even though I love to talk, it seems to be. I notice I talk too damn much. If you guys think I talk too much, say something. This is what you get when you're an introvert. You always think you talk too much. But SmackDown Live, guys, there's not much in this show. You only had the segments of the Bloodline, Eli Drake, and one other thing with Bobby Lashley. Essentially, everything else did not matter. It doesn't really give us anything going into SummerSlam, and it doesn't really give anything in development of anybody else. Let's go to the possible injured Rey Mysterio versus Santos. I don't know. It looks like he might be hurt. Maybe. He might have been hurt when he smacked the back of his head. But the U.S. Invitational between Rey and Santos, it was a good match. Was one of the best I've ever seen. It was okay. They started heating up until when Rey tried to do his flat dive out of the ring. Didn't work. Santos managed to nail him. But then after he nailed him, he decided he wanted to do a suicide dive of his own. He jumps out the ring, nails Rey, but the way Rey landed, it looks like he snapped his head. He popped his head on that mat and the floor. And supposedly he was done for the rest of the match. And they just stopped it. Now, this could be a work. I don't think so. But this could be a work because they just didn't want Rey to lose. But it looked like Rey might have actually got a little screwed up, stunned. Because afterward, he did get back up. He did walk over to him, which makes you wonder, was he really concussed or not? Because a smack to the mat like that, outside on the floor, could easily give you a concussion. I'm not saying he has one, but if he got knocked loopy, that could happen. That can happen. Hell, look what happened when Jake the Snake Roberts and a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had a match. And Ricky smacked his head flat onto the pavement because Jake the Snake gave him a DDT there. His eyes turned black. That's how bad it was. Look, mongoloid, as I think he said at that time when they were talking back in the 80s. I know that's very far back. But when people smack their heads on the pavement, even with those mats, they can still get pretty stunned, concussed, or completely knocked for a loop. They can. It can happen. So, Santos is now going to go up against a pretty much uncared for Austin Fury. And yes, we're going to LA Knight now because we have to go to LA Knight. Because he's going to be in the Battle Royal along with Sheamus. They had a little interaction with Adam Pearce. They're going to have them, he's going to put them both in the Battle Royal and also going to give them the match. But the reason I'm doing it like this is because it doesn't really matter about the match he had with Shantae Adonis. Because Hit Row meant nothing. When I saw Hit Row, I'm going like, why the fuck are they on TV? And then LA Knight's music, and I said, oh, they're being fed to LA Knight. I knew they were going to be fed to LA Knight. The moment I heard his music, I knew they were going to either be fed to him or sacrificed to him. Now, there's a difference between being fed. Here, I want to make this clear. I know one of the subscribers is talking about thinking that LA Knight could become a world champion. I don't see it. I want to see it, but I don't because of Vince. The most I see LA getting is a US title or an IC title run. One of those two. Flat out because I don't trust Vince. But when you see this, when you see, are they being fed to him or are they being sacrificed to him? There's a difference. If a wrestler is so over with the boss, they will be sacrificed compared to being fed. Being fed means that, yes, they're being given to that person, but it does not mean that they're just going to be 100% buried. In many cases, when you're fed, you're not 100% buried. Unless you're already buried. So when you're fed to someone, it doesn't really hurt you. But when you're sacrificed, that is when you know the boss is totally interested in you. And yes, We've heard the rumors that Vince is high on Eli Drake at this point. And if he is, they were sacrificed. But the problem here is Hit Row was already buried. Particularly what happened with Top Dollar last year, trying to do a helo over the ring rope and looked like he just walked over it like he was, and then hurt his hip, like an older man than I am. So they were already buried. I believe they were fed to Eli Drake, not sacrificed. Because if they were sacrificed, whatever momentum or anything that was good with them, they would have lost it. That's what I saw. They got fed. And to be honest, I'm going to say this truthfully, and even though Eli sounded great when he was talking about how B-Fab may be horny for him, and calling Top Dollar from, what was it, I can't remember, the Will Smith's, oh man, what was he called? I forgot his name, because when you see the Prince of Bel-Air, and you see, I don't think it's Uncle Fred. I can't remember what his name is. But you know who I'm talking about. You know who it is. I just cannot remember Carlson's dad. I just can't. I can't remember. But that was funny. I love... It makes me happy to see Eli Drake. I know he's named LA Knight. I still like calling him Eli Drake because he's always going to be Eli Drake to me. I've seen him for over 10 years. It's 11 now. I've seen him for years, and I knew when I saw him, and I've said this multiple times, he had it. It was just one thing was missing, and he worked that out on his own by working hard in the ring. He needed to be a ring general. He is now a ring general. He may not be the best, but he can be a general of the ring. He can guide the match. He can make it mean something. He can put the person over. He can put himself over. He can put them both over, himself and that person. He's earned it. And it's good to see that the fans are going, L.A. Knight, yeah. That makes me so happy. I don't know if I'm one of the few who noticed from the beginning, but I've noticed it. Now JD loves him. Now just Alex loves him. And I said it when they didn't love him. I said, you watch. I think I've said this to people. You watch. He's going to change their mind. I knew he would. Now let's move on. And mainly I did that because that was longer than the match. Okay, Bianca Belair and Charlotte versus the tag champs. This was done because Bianca was having an interview, getting ready for the triple threat. Then the tag champs came out, messing with her, and then mentioned the one who should not be talked about, Charlotte Flair. And then she came out, and she made it clear, oh, they're talking about me? You should learn a lesson. Well, let's me and you team up. And she's telling this to Bianca. Says, no, I have no interest. And she said, I'm going over to Pierce. We're going to get it done. And she said, no, but it didn't matter. Charlotte gets whatever she wants. They got the match. And guess what happened? Could they coexist was involved. But then, it didn't really matter about coexistence. It mattered about how Charlotte could get over. Charlotte was the one that got over. She pinned Chelsea Green by knocking her teeth down her throat. And she got some beautiful teeth. Unlike mine, that's still crooked because I'm afraid to get them done. She got her teeth knocked down her throat. She was laid out like every man and every woman would wish she should be laid out in a bed. No disrespect to Chelsea Green. She's beautiful. She's intelligent. The girl can wrestle her ass off. She can talk on the mic. She knows how to manipulate the crowd. But that's what many people want, man and woman alike. They are in love with Chelsea Green. She's got this. They want her in a bed. They want to see her later and say, I love you. Yeah, you get it. This is me. I don't want to say it. But you get my point. This match didn't need to happen. You see I'm botching this because I don't care about this match. I didn't care about Bianca because she should be a heel by now. I don't care about Charlotte because I expect Charlotte to win the situation. Even if she loses, I'm always going to think she's winning because it's always going to be about her to a certain extent. Look at the match. This was about Charlotte shining more than Bianca, and she won the match. So even if she doesn't win at not about to say Survivor Series, at SummerSlam, I'm worried that if Charlotte doesn't win here, she will win at Survivor Series. There's no way that that woman won't get a title. Oh my gosh. Anyway, they sacrifice Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. And I said they sacrificed. Like I said before, there's a difference between being fed and being sacrificed. This was to sacrifice the tag champs for Charlotte Flair, so she can look more important than Bianca Belair going into SummerSlam. What was the point of combining the NXT titles and the Undisputed titles? Well, not Undisputed, but WWE Women's Tag Championships. You combine them, but guess what? Chelsea has not gone over to Raw. Well, technically they have gone to Raw. But where's NXT? I haven't seen them in NXT yet. I don't think they ever go. They just wiped out NXT. And you think that Vince is not in control. NXT's got no tag champs. I'm just saying. We get another match that really doesn't help. It doesn't help Karrion Kross. And it doesn't help the OC. We got Carl Anderson going up against Karrion Kross. His entrance is one of the way better ones that's in WWE right now. I love it. Him coming out with it hurts me that Scarlett Bordeaux and him are just doing nothing. Why did they return? They got money, yeah, but what have they done? What has Karrion Kross done with Scarlett Bordeaux? What have they done? Nothing, as far as I can tell. Nothing on Raw, nothing on SmackDown. Yeah, he dealt with Ray, which should have been a great rub, but it didn't give him anything. Now he's working with AJ and screaming for AJ and beating up Carl and Luke for AJ. And doesn't really mean anything. And then you look at Michan. What is she doing? Other than looking very beautiful and a whole bunch of cleavage when she was in the back where Carl and AJ, no, not Carl, Carl, Luke, AJ, showing a lot of cleavage. Beautiful. But Carl wanting 100% for no one to come out with him, knowing full well Scarlett does something. Why didn't you have Michan with him? You didn't need Luke, you didn't need AJ, but at least you could have brought Michan out. No, he went out there by himself. He got screwed over by Scarlett, and in the end he loses and gets the straitjacket on, and then they all come out. And then what? This is about trying to get AJ and him to go up against each other again. As far as I remember, they've already dealt with each other multiple times now. At least 2 or 3 times now. But what does it give? What does it give to a Karrion Kross, or AJ for that matter? I don't know. There's nothing there. Okay. Let's talk about Bobby Lashley with the Street Profits. Now, Bobby Lashley also was seen with Mello and Trick. He did go over to NXT. But didn't really do anything. Now the Street Profits are working with him. So I don't know what they're going to be doing with them. Yes, I could talk about what happened in the scene where they were all in a room, all drinking something, and basically one person there was wearing sweats. And the other two are not fond of that. But you got Bobby with your hookup giving you some nice threads. And you know who I'm talking about. And it was not... You know who was dressed to who what. I don't know. I don't know what this gives. Does it really give anything to the Street Profits? Because if they're redoing the Hurt Business, but now with the Street Profits, what? I don't know. Because you have more something with Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander than you would have with the Street Profits. They don't really need the rub. Shelton and Cedric was more important with that than they would. I don't know what would they gain, but that's just me. Last match, that is Jay versus Grayson Waller. Let's set this in perspective. Jay came out in the very beginning of the show, making it clear that he is the new tribal chief by saying that he is in the city. But guess what? The old tribal chief didn't like that, and he came out with his crew. And he starts questioning Jay, saying, what do you think you're doing? I haven't lost my position yet. Why do you think you can just come out here in my show and do this? And how do you believe you can beat me? And he's not wearing the moniker itself of being tribal chief. The beads, he ain't wearing them yet. The laves, I believe that's what it's called. He ain't wearing them. You got Paulie holding them like this, like he's praying with them like they're rosary beads. And he's making it very clear. Who do you think you are? It takes more to be a tribal chief. And anyway, and he entertained it. Let's say you did win. Let's say somehow you did win. Ain't no skin off my nose. I'm still Roman Reigns. Just because I lose doesn't change who I am. But you, what will happen if you lose? You're going to lose everything. I'm taking everything from you. You're not going to have anything. So, how do you believe you're going to beat me? What gives you the thought in your head that you can beat me? And he said, and he smiles, already have. Already done it. I just need to do it again. And he walks away. That really pissed off Roman Reigns. And Grayson Waller afterward messed with him, saying simply, you know what you need? No matter if you win or lose, and I think you're going to lose, and that's what Grayson said. Why don't you come on the Grayson Waller effect? And it will be, in the Grayson Waller effect, you'll have little Jay. And Jay decided to smack him across the face. And then we get this match because of it. Let me give it to you like this. Was it a bad match? No. Grayson's a good wrestler. He was. But I'm going to be honest here. He was fed. He was fed to Jay. There was no way you can get around it. He was fed to him. And when Roman came out to be like a big distraction, it was obvious that no way Jay was going to lose. He was going to be fed to him. And that's what happened. Literally, Jay decided, I'm going to show you that I'm a better tribal chief than you, to Roman Reigns. He spears a Grayson Waller and then does the splash afterward, just to rub it in. And once that's done, Solo comes in, tries to beat him up. He doesn't get anywhere. Roman, who had been sitting at ringside on a chair, takes off his belt, runs in there, and Jay spears his ass as well. And then, of course, they decided, both of them, to do the spear spike. They wanted to make sure Jay did not get away with it. And the thing that made this work was the crowd saying, you're a fake. I believe that's what they said. You are a fake. To Roman Reigns, you're the fake tribal chief. Jay's the real tribal chief. He didn't take it well, and he decided to spear him twice because of it. And he's saying, you actually think you're going to get this? And he's holding up the title. You actually think you even have a chance to get this? And that's where people are going to get confused that this is still about the undisputed WWE Championship. It's not. Roman could say it all he wants. And I'm sure JD and Just Alex are going to say the same thing, that this is still about the damn title. It's not. This is about the moniker tribal chief. This is going to be well beyond if, let's say, Jay does win. This is not going to be about his title defenses. If they go there. Because there's a good chance, even though I'm right, they decide to do a swerve, like Swerve Strickland, and basically turn it on its head. And instead of it showing that this is about the tribal chief, they make it about the title, which they shouldn't. This should be about the moniker tribal chief. It will give them even more mileage, which, understand guys, this is what the networks want. They want the tribal chief and the bloodline story to continue. If you do not keep it going, and if you try to make it about the WWE Undisputed title, it will lose momentum. It's got to be about Jay being the leader of the bloodline. And the story of the bloodline taking precedence over the damn title that he will be holding. Because that's the only way it's going to work. Of course, he can lose the title, and Roman can get it back. There's no problem. But if Jay wins at SummerSlam, and let's say a week or two later, Roman regains the title, he doesn't regain the moniker of tribal chief. And that is what he wants more than anything else. It's not just being the top dog. It's about being the top dog of the family. And that is going to drive Roman insane. That he may gain the title back, but does not mean he gains the moniker back. Being Roman Reigns means nothing if you're not the head of the bloodline. The bloodline is what he is defining himself by. If he loses the moniker of Tribal Chief, and even though he gains the title itself, does not mean he regains the bloodline moniker. He doesn't regain the Tribal Chief moniker. So, Solo must, unless he's going against the Tribal Chief, Jey Uso, his older brother, he must abandon Roman even if he is champion. The wise man may have to leave Roman as well, because if the elders tell Jey to take the wise man, he's going to take the wise man, and Roman will have nothing, and they're going to have to make a story about that, about Roman being so pissed that he's not the champ. Not only being champ, he wants to be Tribal Chief again. He's going to either have to keep fighting Jey, or you have to get in line like Solo and Jimmy. He's got to fall in line. That's what this is going to be. What people are not going to see right now. It's got to be full circle. Jey was brought in to fall in line. He became the Tribal Chief's first member of the bloodline. He made him fall in line and give up because of Jimmy. Now, if he wins and there's constant fighting, eventually he has to fall in line, and that's Roman. He must become a soldier to the Tribal Chief. And that's just me. Peace.